What is a fallacy? Can you tell me what a fallacy is? What's up? Unmute, Nick.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna try and have a debate in favor of atheism. So, first of all, would you agree with like the parsimony principle that unless your worldview, your set of beliefs,
hold on, slow down. Agree with.
You know,
slow down.
Parsimony.
I didn't hear.
The parsimony principle.
The what?
Parsimony principle.
Okay, parsimony principle. Go ahead.
Yeah, so basically the way I understand it is if unless your set of beliefs explains the world around you and the variability around certain responses in the world around you better than another model, then it is logical it is rational to just reduce to the simpler model that explains the world. So basically it's like Occam's razor. Like as an atheist, yes, like a religious person, what exactly does your worldview, does your set of beliefs explain that I, as an atheist, wouldn't be able to?
Well, the theist worldview explains how knowledge is possible at all, and the atheist worldview makes knowledge impossible at all.
Could you elaborate on that?
Yes, the theistic worldview provides the possibility of grounding knowledge, universals, mathematical entities, logical categories, etc., the preconditions of knowledge. All of those are grounded in a theistic worldview where there's the metaphysics that those things are possible, and knowledge is therefore possible. Whereas an atheistic worldview, due to the finitude of the human mind, the inexplicability of the human mind, the irrationality of the external world, etc., make the possibility of justifying and grounding knowledge impossible.
So you're saying that basically the atheistic person, he can ground his kind of knowledge, whereas an atheist cannot. But don't you see the case that maybe an atheist is just like, has the humility to kind of accept him being not able to ground?
Well, claiming that you have the ability has nothing to do with justifying your knowledge claims.
Mm-hmm. Well, all right. Now, justifications, like... The way I see it, if we have like any given statement, it is justified if it is true, and it's just like a question. Again, knowledge can only exist if you have like a definition, like some kind of a metaphysics here. You have like a definition of truth, right? So you can assign truth to any given statement, and I don't think that it is necessary to believe in a God or, to be theistic, to have a definition of truth. For example, like you could, I don't know. You're missing
the point. So you can say that God isn't necessary to have a, quote, definition of truth, but how do we know that that's the case? What's the justification for that assertion?
Well, because humans, we can have a conversation here, and obviously we understand each other, and it's not by coincidence, right? So there are certain laws.
Okay, but what? Yeah, I agree. But what's the what's the explanation of the justification for those laws of thought and meaning that make conversation possible? That's precisely the question. What's the account for that?
Well, maybe it's grounded in. I don't know. Is it grounded in evolution?
So, I don't know. How would evolution, a process of constantly moving flux and change, ground something immaterial and invariant?
Well, because the immaterial and the invariant, and I guess by that you mean the logic and other transcendental.
Or the principles are meaning.
Right. Well, can I just finish my sentences, please? It's intertwined with the material. So that's
you're just asserting metaphysics. Logic. How do you know that? What's the justification? You're just asserting things. Justify these claims.
Well, that's just an observation. So the way I see it.
Wait a minute. So it's an assertion. So you said maybe the immaterial is bound up with and entangled with the material. Okay, so God does it all. Are you going to accept that?
No.
All right. So what's the justification for that?
So if you define God, define God as
don't change the subject. Tell me the justification for your assertion. Stop changing the subject. What's the justification for your assertion?
My assertion that immaterial things emerge from material things.
Yeah. It's
Well,
magic.
An observation. So, for example, we are like
It's an assertion. It's not even an observation. You don't observe that. You're just asserting things.
Well, no, just let me finish. So I can give you an example, and you can say what's wrong about it.
Well,
So
how
we're
is
having
giving
a
an
conversation
example
right now.
going to justify the assertion?
Can you repeat that? I didn't hear it.
Even if you give me an example, how will that justify the assertion being true? How do you know that that's true, that immaterial emerges from the matter, from the material?
Because I observe it constantly.
Oh, so that's a circle.
So,
No, you don't. You think you see things happening, but how do you know that that's the meaning of what's happening?
because well, it's either I'm insane or I am not. So I would prefer to think that I'm not
That's
insane.
a fallacy. That has nothing to do with whether it's true or false. All right, we're moving on. This is ridiculous. I hope you put your microwave Diddy oil on 30 seconds.